but let's just begin anyway. Alright, welcome to the Sand Ocean 2 tutorial. Sand Ocean 2 is a really cool track because it's waving and there's many corners, as you can see in the track map already here, that are absolutely perfect for drifting. So this is a track where it's really beneficial to drift. The Staff Goats gets a 123, but that's definitely also beatable with a grip driving style. So that's what I will begin to show, a grip driving style to easily beat the Staff Ghost, and then two more drifting strategies, one pretty basic and one involving some dives that you can do near the end of the lap in a tunnel to win just a few more extra seconds. And especially with drifting, the Staff Ghost is also drifting, it should be very easy to beat it. So let's watch it. So there we go, already 6 seconds faster than the Staff Ghost just by grip driving strategy. There's a few cool tricks to it. You can get some airtime near the end of the lap, and there's a lot of dash plates on Sand Ocean 2. So let's analyze it. It's not a very hard strategy, I would rate it 2 out of 10. Settings +4. The Staff Ghost is using drifting, so it has a very high acceleration. You will see it pull away from you at the start of the race. But with some efficient driving, keep your steering minimal and getting all the dash plates, that's really key for this strategy too. We can gain time on it and we can beat it by over 6 seconds in the end. So there's a lot of, the road is very wavy, there's a lot of small jumps, and it's good to manage those, so you want to really get speed from those and you want to get airtime, because it helps you accelerate faster. On many of the turns, stick to the inside. Use some side attacks if you need to. On this turn, for instance, you don't need to. Then take the dash plate. And you can see the Staff Ghost getting ahead of you in the corners because it's accelerating in the corners really fast with drifting. Lucky for us, it's drifting really poorly, so that should not be any hindrance for defeating it. So now we're approaching the end of the lap. You can see some small jumps here and there. There's another dash plate here. And now from this part, if we stick to the right side of the road, a little further ahead, you can see a sort of a little hill coming up. If you stick on the far right side of the road here, we can get a little jump into the tunnel. And that helps you accelerate quite a bit. Now we can use the speed from that dive to dive out of the tunnel again for another speed boost. And now we can finally say goodbye to that Staff Ghost. A good trick is to maintain high top speeds, and so you start off with boosting immediately in lap 2 and you keep on boosting up to this dash blade. And you really have to remember where all the dash blades are. So this is a track you have to play a bunch of times until you remember it well enough that you know where all the dash blades are. And for most of the middle part of the track, I'm boosting manually all the time, but also getting those dash blades. If you miss one or two, then you might get some energy problems, so that's a good thing to take into account. Get this dash blades, then boost a few more times up to the next one. And all the time you get these little jumps in between. So side attack, steer up to this dash blade. Now you don't boost anymore for here. We can do the same trick from lap 1, where you get some airtime when you drive on the far right side of the road here into the tunnel for a nice little speed boost. Use some side attacks to position your ship well, then dive out of the tunnel into the refiller. Yeah, wait with boosting in lap 3 until after this dash blade. Yeah, and try to stick really on the inside of the turns. It kind of speaks for itself, but it's not as easy as it sounds, because this track is kind of difficult to navigate, going up and down all the time. Then use your last manual boost here on this section in between the dash blades. The usual trick applies, where you side attack first and then really steer into a corner to preserve more speed. So that's also definitely the case here, although many corners you can take without side attacks. But you have to really master the control of the twin orbiter to be able to pull that off. Use up your last bit of energy here and then get the two little air times at the end of the lap, little jumps. And then of course when you land in the refiller you can just keep on boosting to finish the race. And you can even beat the staff coach by 6 seconds even on a track like this where drifting is so beneficial. So this is a great strategy for grip-based driving Sand Ocean 2. Alright, so I already mentioned a bunch of times, drifting is really beneficial on this track. So let's just watch it first, see how much time you can really save with some good drifting. So 107.1, that's almost as fast as the world record. The world record is about a second faster, but that is using some good dives. So with just basic drifting we can get very close to the world record already, and we can get almost 9 seconds faster than the grip-based driving strategy can take us. So let's analyze. And I think I did find a fix for the microphone, so it should sound fine now. So start off with a hard real drift on the left side, into a regular drift into the first left corner, and be sure to catch these dash plates. Switch drift to a drift to the right, and make sure to catch this second dash plate as well, and then regain your grip. Use a side attack into a drift along this corner. As long as your boost is going, you can make it a boost drift, and the boost will end now. And now it's better for us to preserve the speed, side attack through this corner. So make sure to start those side attacks without steering into the corner too much, because that will lose you speed. Drift around this corner, and then use this dash plate for a boost real drift on the right side into this corner. You don't want to lose too much energy here, but we can take a hit on the first lap. Start drifting already in the air from this little jump. Go along the apex of this corner and be sure to catch this dash plate into a real drift on the left side. Now you want to be careful with the energy, you don't want to lose too much, but we can actually refill completely from losing this much. You can do the trick again with the 2 little jumps at the end of the lap in this strategy too, and it will give us a nice speed boost into the refiller. Land right before the refiller starts, and we should be able to refill completely from the damage from the real drifts. Now in lap 2, start boosting immediately. We want to preserve the speed from the jumps, and boost drift along the first corner. You will see the ship jumping up and down. You can take actually a little bit of a shortcut around this corner, that's tricky. After the first dash plate, use some side attacks to position yourself for the second dash plate, and then boost drift along this corner. Use some side attacks to position your ship in the perfect position for a boost drift along this corner to the right. The side attack there is really beneficial for positioning the ship just on the right spot on the road to be able to pull that off efficiently. Keep on boosting all the way up to this dash plate. Boost drift along this corner. Then manual boost, side attack into the air drift into a regular drift along the apex and over this dash plate. Then regain your grip and keep a straight line here. We don't want to touch the rail because we need that energy for the final lap. And use the 2 little jumps at the end of the lap again into the tunnel and out of the tunnel for a nice little speed boost. So these dives is where you can win potentially a lot of time by doing some double tap dives, but that is something that is reserved for the next strategy. So as soon as you enter refiller, boost once more to preserve the speed from the jump, and then wait with boosting until this corner starts to jump, air drift really up to this dash plate, regain your grip, use some right side attacks to go over this dash plate, and drift along this corner. Then straighten out, left side attack into a drift to the right. These corners are all really perfect for drifting, so it makes all the sense in the world to use a drifting strategy on this track. You can really stay on the inside of most corners while boost drifting really efficiently. Switch drift into a right drift here, manual boost here, because the dash plate boost will run out while there's still some room left to drift. And use up all your energy up to this dash plate. Now this section can be a little bit scary, but the last section into the tunnel, because we have no energy left, so it's very risky if we touch the rail. But nevertheless, you can win a little bit more time if you do these little jumps at the end of the lap. Left side attack here to position the ship well. And boost to finish the race. 107 potential, but that is very hard without any double tap dives. It's already close to the world record, it's about a second away. This is a very cool track in my opinion, especially with the drifting stuff. So much faster than grip. Alright, so now I already mentioned it, we can do some double tap dives at the end of the lap to really get quite a bit of speed from them, even though we don't have much air time. But that will save a few more seconds, so let's watch it first. Alright, so as you could see, you can really get a lot of speed from those dives. At 103 potential, that's a few seconds faster than a world record. And a lot of the trick to doing those dives well is in how you set them up. So let's analyze it. So we start off really the same as the last strategy. Real drift on the left side, and then drift along the first dash plate, switch drift to a right drift to catch the second dash plate, and then straighten out. Jump down, and you can partially boost drift along this corner. I just extend the drift all the way up to this corner, and then use some side attacks to go along this one to preserve the speed. Move to the left side of the road and drift along the apex of this corner to the left. Move over the dash plate into a real drift on the right side. Now we want to be really careful with how much energy you're going to lose. So the real drifts are slightly less impactful as the last strategy, because we need to keep just a little bit more energy than the last time, because we're spending less time in the refiller because we're going much faster from the double tap dives. Same with this real drift. Now I lose almost as much energy as the last strategy, but it's really crucial to keep an eye on that. So this is the first double tap dive. How does that work? We already know if you move from the right side of the road here and you go fast enough, you can do a little jump. But you can set it up into a double tap dive in a tunnel, but you don't want to make it too big. The tunnel has some tricky cornering in it. So how do I set it up? I do a left side attack from this position, then move the control stick half a circle from the down position to down left, left, up. So half a circle on the left side, up to gradually tilt the ship over and move the nose of the ship down left. So that's that movement. Nose of the ship pointing down left, ship is tilted to the side a little bit. Now we can do a double tap dive R by moving the control stick from the up position to about halfway upright. You want to land in the tunnel, but it's very tricky because the tunnel has a sharp corner to the left. So you don't want to land too much into that because you cannot make it anymore in the setup for the next dive. But landing in the tunnel at this speed is beneficial into setting up the next dive as well. So it's a little bit of a chain reaction too. So up halfway right to land about here. Now I'm using a left side attack and I'm turning sharp to the left along this position as far left as you can go before moving to the right again to set up the dive. So about as far left as you can go, and now I'm starting a drift to the right, and by that I just did a left side attack, and from the second press of the Z button I'm holding it down. That means if I start turning right, I'm automatically drifting right because I will never regain the grip. So what do? I do the control stick to the right, of course, I'm turning sharp right. And eventually I will move forward with my momentum forward is quite a lot. And I'll start to lift off. In the moment that I start to lift off from this bump here in the tunnel, I move the control stick to the upright position and then up. Start to lift off, control stick upright and then up, and look at this angle. So look at this, how extreme the angle is of the ship. That's really the key to getting a lot of speed from this dive. So this is called a low dive form because we really don't have much height at all, but the ship is tilted at such an extreme angle that any movement in the air like this with side attacks is going to accelerate the ship a lot. And you want to land right at the start of the left refill strip, ideally, but it means we're going so fast that we just zip right through it, and there's a risk that you don't refill enough energy. But anyway, let's watch the dive. But in my opinion, doing that dive before this dive really helps in setting up the angle so perfectly that you can do the low dive form and really accelerate in the air a lot. Now I wait with boosting a little bit until this corner starts, jump up to this dash plate, regain the grip, use some right side attacks to go over the second dash plate, do a right side attack here into a boost drift. Now this boost will run out, straighten out, left side attack, hold the Z button into a drift and start boosting in the corner to really go along its apex and boost drift here. Switch drift to a left drift, boost again, all the way up to the dash plate here. Regain the grip and then switch shift to a right drift. Manual boost here. I do a right side attack and sort of air drift in the air up to here. Boost, manual boost again for about half a boost until you go over the dash plate. Do sort of a mini double tap dive there, do some right side attack just to straighten out here. Now we can do the same thing again at the end of the second lap. Little dive here, left side attack into a drift to the right. Start to control stick upright and up, and at a very extreme angle we're landing this double tap dive. And you really want to land as soon as possible to get as much of the refiller as you can, because energy trouble is really lurking here for this strategy. That's why one of the key points that you really need to get all those dash plates in this strategy, because boost drifting along the corners is so key to getting fast times that if you have a few corners or one corner where you don't have enough energy to boost anymore, you're giving away a lot of time. But it is possible to have enough energy to boost along all of them. So the last lap is really the same thing. You have just about enough energy to boost along this final corner here up to the dash plate. But that means that you do run out of energy at this point. And that this final section of dives is going to be very, very dangerous. Because if you touch the rail, and the risk is really there with doing double tap dives at this point, you're dead. So that's something full risk that you would do in a time attack setting, of course. Go all out on this last dive, doesn't matter where you land. And boost to finish the race. 103 potential, few seconds faster than the world record. Not easy at all, but this track is a lot of fun. So yeah, great track, especially for drifting, so have fun. And that's it for the Sand Ocean 2 tutorial. And thanks a lot to Jack20 for making the demos for Sand Ocean 2. He did an absolutely fantastic job on those, so thanks to him we have this fantastic tutorial so we all know how to play it.